What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. Well, what kind of American are you? You don't know?
Alex Garland is obsessed with dystopian futures. It's a theme that runs like a dark thread through much of his work. And what is it about these bleak worlds that captivates this writer-director? And more importantly, why should we as viewers pay attention to it? From like the viral apocalypse of 28 Days Later to the AI-driven suspense in Ex Machina, he creates crafts and narratives that are not just tales of survival, but explorations of human nature under extreme conditions. Garland's affinity for dystopia isn't just about catastrophe. It's about using extreme scenarios to amplify human behavior. Each film serves as a kind of like petri dish, cultivating and examining the viruses of greed, power, fear, and survival. Take Ex Machina, for example. Here, Garland doesn't just show us robots. He shows us humanity's dual capacity for creation and destruction. I mean, he holds us a mirror up to us, really, our own ethical and moral quandaries that we have about consciousness, control, and creation. And Annihilation, while I'm not a huge fan of that film, Garland explores kind of self-destruction and transformation and the unknown. It feels more derivative, but it's interesting, and there are certain elements that I do find entertaining. It's less about the alien landscape and more about how we evolve with our traumas and fears and how we are, irrevocably changed by them. Garland's work often leaves us with kind of more questions, though, than answers. In like a true dystopian fashion, his films don't promise a better world. They just instead kind of challenge us to think about how we might react in the face of the end of the world as we know it. Why does he obsess over these dark futures? I think perhaps because dystopia strips away the everyday, the mundane, the routine, the taken for granted stuff, forcing characters and through them and us to confront the fundamental aspects of what it is to be human, love, hate, loyalty, betrayal. But they're a kind of amplified. They're at the extreme ends of these things. These characters are put under extreme duress, and so we see these characters, under a magnifying glass, so to speak. In Civil War, this confrontation is literal. It's like a fractured society reflecting our own potential future, and Garland uses dystopia not just as like a backdrop, but as a catalyst to explore the depths of human emotion and decision making. And it seems so relevant to what's going on today. I don't think it doesn't feel very Hollywood. It was really quite a distressing watch, I'll have to be honest. And I think maybe just by exploring these kind of dark places, Garland's hinting at, like a warning, really. Or offering maybe a sliver of hope, an opportunity to change our course before fiction becomes fact. And we can see where we're headed, and none of it's good. Garland has assembled a cracking cast, including Kirsten Dunst, who's in the lead, with Wagner Moura, who you're better known from Narcos, Kaylee Spaney, who I haven't seen before, but she's fantastic in this role, and Jesse Plemons in a small role, which anyone who's seen this film already will be very familiar with, and Nick Offerman, who's has a surprise turn as the president here, seeing him cast out of type, who's actually very, very good. Now, I want to preface this by saying that this isn't a typical action movie. If you're going in there expecting a full-on action movie from beginning to end, you're going to be disappointed. It's more of a thriller drama / apolitical kind of drama, and it's probably better for it. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of action scenes punctuated throughout this film, but that's not its main hand in this instance. I think the biggest surprise for me was the sound mix in this film, which was incredibly loud and really visceral and quite shocking in places. And the gunfire in this wasn't your typical Hollywood fare, where it was kind of dramatic, using slow-mo shots and lots of, a thunderous score over mixing already, the sound of gunfire. It was like you were being thrust into a war zone with a journalist, which is what the film is, really. You have, two photojournalists and Wagnamura, who is accompanying them and guiding them through, and they're all representing the press. But you're seeing it like someone would be seeing this on the ground, and it is really quite shocking in places. I won't lie to you. There are scenes in this which will you'll do a double take because you're surprised to see it in a kind of cinema style film, and I think it's a real eye opener to the horror of conflict, and something like this, especially how America is so divided at the moment, and it seems like it's really polarized, and you could see something like this happening. I mean, you really could see it, and there isn't a Facebook post or an Instagram post that you don't read at the moment where there's just this discourse between people and real bile and venom bubbling, and it's this film really does seem to encapsulate that. So I think if you're looking for a film that you want to go to and be kind of thrilled, this is definitely up your street, and it's definitely worth seeing on IMAX. I would highly recommend that again, because the last film I saw, which had the kind of thunderous, cacophonous gunfire, which made you feel like you were in a war zone, and the only other film I can think of was Michael Mann's Heat, and that's all the way back in 1995, and that for me is the kind of benchmark of gunplay in a film, which feels incredibly visceral and incredibly realistic, and again, not so Hollywood. So to sum up, what do we think of Civil War? Is it worth your money? I think it is. Is it worth a trip to the cinema on a Saturday? Yes, I'd say so. A24, whenever I see that logo now, I'm all in, and they don't always deliver every time, but this time I think they definitely have. It's not without fault, but it's definitely worth your time and effort. I think Alex Garland, writer-director now, is adding this to his CV, and I think he's done really good work. So yeah, check it out, go to the cinema, put your money down, and let me know in the comments below what you think of it. If you've seen it already, did you like it? If you didn't like it, I want to know. Let me know in the comments below again, and hope to like and subscribe if you've liked this content, and I'll catch you in the next one.